What is going on YouTube? So we are doing something a little bit different than what I'm normally used to doing. Taking my car and going to do some testing on prep. Now my car, I haven't really did any kind of videos on it or anything, but my car is set up as a no prep car. Front side no prep. We are transitioning away from the no prep stuff. Aside for a couple of friends of mine that are promoters that put on really good, well organized front side no prep races, we're kind of transitioning over to the stinky side, prep side of racing, and also gearing up towards drag and drive. I'm already registered for it. November this year, I'll be attending my very first drag and drive in the Carolinas, street meet. But we are trying to get some data right now, today, up here at Middle Georgia Motorsports Park. Getting some testing, getting some data, adjust some suspension. And next weekend, we are going to Montgomery International Raceway, I believe it is. Anyway, it's in Montgomery. It's a prep race. Don't know the guy, never been over there before. So we'll go out there and see what we can get done. All right, it's been a couple of days since we were at Middle Georgia. I'm still trying to get used to trying to do some filming, kind of out of my comfort zone just a little bit, but I've learned a lot. There's a lot of informative stuff, and it's entertaining on YouTube. So I want to be able to share my journey. If it inspires one person, that's awesome. But it's been a couple days since we went to Middle Georgia. Didn't really get the data that we wanted. Track was not that great. Prep was not that great. We adjusted suspension. My car doesn't have the best suspension on it in the world. We adjusted what we could. We're still learning a lot about suspension. I feel like we've got the power managing figured out, kinda. But the suspension is just something that I've never really paid a whole lot of attention to, and I need to do more of it, especially if we're going to be doing prep stuff. But I will insert a couple videos that we had from the runs that we made in Middle Georgia, and we'll take a look at them now. Alright, so as you could tell, we didn't have the best tune-up. It was pretty much had to go back to my third, fourth round front side no prep tune-up, suspension wise and tune wise, to get it to actually go down. So we took that and we wanted to compare it to Montgomery. We went this past weekend. Today is Tuesday. So this past weekend we went to Montgomery and did some testing Thursday night. Testing went phenomenal. The same exact tune-up, didn't change anything. And the car almost went personal best 60 foot and 330 with the same tune-up, and it went quite a bit faster than when we was at Middle Georgia. Prep was absolutely killer, super sticky. Crowd was great. The atmosphere was great. The track was great. So I will now show some of those videos that we did get from Thursday testing. So I'll take a look at those. You good? So you can tell the car was doing a lot better. We did, when we first got there, it was actually a problem that I've never really had before with with it pulling the front tires. It's done it before, not saying that it was any kind of crazy wheelies, but any movement in racing except forward is slowing you down. So wheels going up, slowing you down. So we did a couple things, made as much suspension adjustments as we could. We learned an awful lot about suspension Thursday night. We didn't touch the tune-up at all. Like I said, it had the same exact tune-up, same boost ramp, timing, everything was exactly the same from when we went to Middle Georgia. And from the very first pass that I made in Montgomery, Thursday afternoon, every single pass Thursday night, 60 foot 330 got faster and faster and faster. Super impressed with what we learned. We still got a long ways to go, but we are definitely heading in the right direction. Ran a really good number, personal best, 8th mile, and on way less boost than I've ever ran before. Surprising. So we felt really confident. Again, out of my element, with as far as prep racing, but we're still gonna give it a try. We have family that lives right around there, so we made a trip out of it, a whole weekend trip, had a great time. But you never know until you try. Sometimes going out there and losing and getting your butt kicked just makes you work a little bit harder to achieve your goal. So that's what we were taking out of it. We made one shakedown Friday. We got 20 pounds of ankle weights from Walmart and strapped it on the front of the car to try to keep the nose down. Worked great. 60 foot was identical. 330 was pretty much dead on. So we didn't touch it. We was ready for first round. Fast forward a couple hours, they get ready, drivers meeting, all that stuff. That's a whole mess in itself. We ain't gonna talk about that. The first round, they go to call us up. Derek, my brother-in-law Brandon, they going up the staging lanes. I get in the car, I'm getting suited up, crank the car up, and I just happened to look down at the dash, and my oil pressure was fluctuating, 17, 19 pounds of oil pressure, which has never done that before. It's always been, on a hot day, even after a couple runs, been sitting for an hour, normally it'll crank up, got 55, 60 pounds of oil pressure, maybe, but never that much, never that low. So I've been ignoring an issue with the oil pan. I'm running a stock oil pan, F-body oil pan on my car. It's not the best stock pickup tube. My tuner has been crawling my tail about getting you know, at least some trapdoor baffles for that oil pan, or getting a different oil pan altogether. I haven't, because unfortunately I'm one of those ones that if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So it's been working. So I thought that my luck had just run out. Turned the car off, crunk it back up, same thing, whacked the throttle a couple times, didn't move. The oil pressure was just like, it was erratically jumping between like 16 and 18 pounds of oil pressure. So turned it off, called Derek, told him, you know, hey, not going to be able to make it down because, you know, oil pressure. So I withdrew out of the race. It sucks. That's a long drive. I think we had about 6 hours driving one way. There was some drama, you know, during driver's meeting, which took forever to get ironed out. But so, you know, I made the call instead of chancing it, you know, take it home. And when the time was right, I was going to get, you know, check everything out, cut the filter. You know, I'm pretty good about cutting filter and servicing this thing. So I was going to cut the filter, see if there's any bearing material. And my buddy Chancey has given me a really nice aluminum oil pan that he could not use. It's already got trapdoors and stuff on it, so I was just going to check. I'm going to change that. I'm going to do all the stuff that my tuner has been telling me to do for a while. So got to thinking last night, been racking my brain for the last couple of days. You know, the long drive home, what could have happened? What could be wrong? Playing everything out in my head. Nothing's really making a whole lot of sense, because normally whenever you lose oil pressure that low with hydraulic roller motors like LS's, you know, you tend to lose oil pressure, or prime in the lifters. The car was quiet as a mouse, just like it always has. Sounded great. So I don't know. I talked to my buddy, super smart guy. I called him for all my technical questions, and he told me, he said, hey, go pick you up a cheap oil filter, go to the house, crank it up. It's been sitting for a couple days. Just see if it's got oil pressure, and if not, take the oil filter off, spin the new one on there, crank it up, see if it's got oil pressure. So if it don't have oil pressure, you got something wrong inside. Easy enough. So I get home last night, and I go to I turn the ignition on. Don't start it or anything. Just turn the ignition on, and I let the fuel tech, I let it kind of go through its startup sequence on the screen, and lo and behold, the oil pressure, with it not running, was showing erratically 16, 17, 18 pounds of oil pressure. Which leads me to believe that the sensor failed. So I'm going to get the car out when I get home. I'm going to get the car out and swap the filter, or not the filter, I'm sorry, swap the oil pressure sensor with the fuel pressure sensor and see if the issue follows. That'll be a super easy way to determine whether his oil pressure sensor has just kicked the bucket. So I'm going to try that, and I'll report back with an update. Okay, so what I'm doing here is to verify whether the oil pressure sensor is bad or not. I have removed the fuel pressure sensor out of the regulator, and I've got to get down, I don't know if you can see it, right down in there. That is the oil pressure sensor. So what I've got to do is swap these out. But first, I'm going to plug this up. So I'll plug that sensor back up. Slide in here and turn the ignition on. Oops. And you'll see what I'm talking about. There's it. Come on, focus. There. So it's not running, but the oil pressure is just acting stupid. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to swap this sensor out and then turn the car over, see if we've got oil pressure. If we've got some oil pressure better than 16 pounds of oil pressure on the on just turning it over, then I'm going to crank it, see what oil pressure is. Hopefully, let there be a little bit of luck on my side. Hopefully, I can verify that all that it is just a simple failed sensor. It's Android electronics. They happen. These sensors, they're actually Amazon sensors. Not the best sensors in the world, I know, especially for the caliber of racing that I'm trying to do. It's really, really good idea to run, you know, good quality sensors, Rife, low dollar. You know, those are some really, really good ones, and you know, good accurate data is good to have. Sucks, you know, the sensors are a little bit more expensive. You know, this little Amazon sensor, I think it was $25-$30 maybe. I think low dollar sensors are around they're around $50 or $60 if I'm not mistaken. I know Rife sensors are a little bit more expensive, but you know, you get what you pay for. I've had good luck with these, but it looks like the luck has run out. So you know, if I can verify that this all it is just a sensor, then I will be ordering, you know, good quality sensors for everything on this car. Fuel pressure, oil pressure. I've already got a Rife air intake temp sensor. Put a Rife, what do you call it? The coolant temp sensor. Everything. I want everything. I don't want to have this problem again because I don't want to travel, you know, six and a half hours to another track and have an issue with a simple sensor failure. But I will report back in just a few. Sensor swapped around. You guys are gonna see it with me. I hope this fixes my problem. First, I want to cycle everything. Make sure that, okay, so now oil pressure is reading 0. Now I'm going to turn it over, see what kind of oil pressure it'll build. I think we got it. All right, crank it up now. Oh, y'all do not understand how ecstatic I am right now. Great news. Oil pressure, not a problem. It was literally just a sensor. It happens. You know, it's electronics. All this electronic stuff is kind of the nature of it. Sometimes it just fails. It's good to have a backup. I didn't have any backup sensors, but at the same time, I was also too frustrated, too upset with myself and about the situation to even look at it. But having said that, I am going to end this video here. I'll be doing some more updates right now. I don't know if you can tell, I'm literally working on this thing inside of my trailer. My curiosity got the best of me, and I had to find out if this is what the problem was. So good to know. Rest easy now, knowing I'm going to get a couple really good sensors on the way. Shouldn't be a problem. I don't have any real races lined up. I know we're going to go up to South Carolina to my good buddy Clyde Ledbetter's Flashlight Frenzy. It's a front side no prep. Track's always fast, so we'll be doing that in August. So if you're in the Ware Shoals area, if you see this, come say hey, come check out. There's going to be a lot of really good racing that day. He does a lot of really, really good stuff, free entry. He really has the racers in mind. He does power rail races for kids where I think they either get ice creams or actual cash money for racing and participating. He'll have stick shift class, index racing. You'll have the class that I normally run. You'll have the streetcar class, and he'll have a gangster lineup of some of the fastest small tire cars probably in the Southeast. They'll show up. Really good time. So if you're in the area, I don't know the exact day. I think it's like August 24th, something like that. Look them up on Facebook. It's the Flashlight Frenzy. It will be sometime in August. It's the end of August, I believe. But that's it for this one. I appreciate everybody tuning in, and I know it's kind of a little bit longer, and I will be going into a little bit more detail when I have more time about this car. So anything that you guys want to see, talk about, feel free to, drop a comment. I get notifications on it, so I'll be sure to get on there and respond. And if this is something that you like, tell me. Is it cringy? Tell me. Because at the end of the day, I want to make good usable content for people. Yeah. So we'll catch you guys on the next one.